finally, it's here. Yes, I am showing you today what I have finally laid out and chosen for my son for the 2017-2018 homeschool year. I am using, I like to say I'm die-hard, hardcore, all that, Charlotte Mason, but I'll be real, this isn't all completely Charlotte Mason. It is Charlotte Mason inspired, which means I am doing as much as I can following her principles, and those are: children are born persons, education is an atmosphere, a discipline and a life, and as much living books as humanly possible to give a feast of ideas. There are a bunch of subjects here, so I will be, we won't be doing every subject every day. A lot of what I can do will be family corporate, so or incorporated. Our science is done as a family, our history will be done as a family, hymn study is done as a family, and art is done as a family. And I did make a video with all of our family choices, and I will link that above so you can go click it, see it, watch it, have fun with it, yada yada yada. Okay, so we do have some daily things that need to be done, and they're just very simple, very basic. Alright, if your son is responsible and you can depend on him, this would be a much simpler way to do it. We have daily work, and then we're going to have weekly work, and then Monday I will just write down what we need to do. This is going to go into a page protector, and they can just check it off with a dry erase marker. This one's my daughter's. This is too ambiguous for my son. For my son, I am continuing his little planner that I did last year, and it just has everything detailed as to what he needs to do. So there should be no questions about there should be no question as to what he needs to do. And then what I'm going to have them do, I barely have started this year and I've already had a little one try to help me. I'm going to have him highlight when he is done, and then I will check it off once I've completed it. So the highlighting holds him accountable, the checking it off holds me accountable. So he has his daily list as to what needs to be done. Now, daily. We have our copywork, handwork, penmanship, handwriting, all that. I purchased this from Walmart. It's like $4. And I wanted a nice one because I actually still have mine from when I was in school, because I was also given this task that I'm going to show you. And it was in my very best, and it's beautiful. Like, I'll still go back and look on it because I did have to do my very best handwriting. What they do is day 1, he's going to write 1 Timothy 2:1. And then this page will be for any written narration that we do that day. Day 2, 1 Timothy 2 verse 2, and it's going to go through 1 Timothy, through 2 Timothy, all the way into Psalm 119. There are 128 pages filled out. I have completely filled out what he needs to do for the whole year. Took me about 2.5 hours per kid. Obviously, we have 175 days. This is not complete, but in January I will try to start the next one that they will need to do. So he has this every single day. Then we have math. Now I am doing Life with Fred with him, as well as I want him to master his flashcards. And we'll just figure out a way. I'm probably just going to give it to him, let him and his older sisters work back and forth together on it so that both of them learn it. And then we're doing Life with Fred. Here's his book. Here's his notebook. If you can kind of see, we have a color theme going on here, and it's his favorite color. Once he gets done with apples, he can go into butterflies. Once he's done with butterflies, he can go into cats. And once he gets done with cats, he can go into dogs. So far, he is trying to do one thing a day, but I am not pushing it too much because I would rather him learn it than speed through it. He will have grammar. I did have Simply Charlotte Mason grammar. I did find that it was working best. However, in pulling in my husband and getting him more involved in this, he grew up with Rod and Staff English and therefore has chosen for us to go this route. So this is what we're doing. This is Rod and Staff English 2. It's for grade 2 and he's in 3rd grade. I find that with the rod and staff, I tend to go down one rather than go on level. So my daughter is in 4th grade and she's going to be doing the 3rd grade one. Rod and staff, if I have this correctly, I believe they only go up to 8th grade in English. The reason for this is rod and staff was made for Amish Mennonite schools. The Amish do not have a complete education. They only go up to 8th or 9th grade. So they have to really put everything that the student is going to need to meet educational standards into those years. So that is something to know when doing rod and staff. Another thing to know about rod and staff is the people that have done it, when they go into college, they go into a higher grammar. They don't necessarily start at the bottom. They start at a higher one insofar as the community college will allow them. That's just been our personal experience here in town. So we will be continuing grammar. This is a 1 lesson a day thing. Along with a daily work will be his literature, history, narration, dictation, and all that stuff work. Actually, it's not dictation. Dictation spelling, but he will be doing all of the history books that I previously talked about in another video. What I did with these is, I followed Hannah at Pepper and Pine. She took one of those full back sticky notes and wrote on the back what needs to happen. This one will take him 2 weeks. I'm not going to push it too much. And I literally wrote down the pages to read per day. I went through and I put it back so hopefully he can finish a chapter or be at a good stopping point if he had to stop in the middle of a chapter. And so far in filling out all of these, even including Farmer Boy, which I have it worked out as to a 4-week schedule, he will not be doing any more than 20 pages a day. That's, I think, very reasonable. It's reading in his head. It's not reading out loud, which I normally do in my read-alouds about 20 pages a day. And this is just in your head, which can go a lot more smoother and faster. And then what we have with that is what I'm using for my book of centuries, my timeline, whatever you want to call it. This is from Walmart. And we have lined paper here that he can write down what is happening in history. Over here we have graph if he wants to draw anything or add any pictures or anything like that. He can do that here. Artifacts, something that would be common during that time. And then here is where we will put our timeline and anything else that we have. So that's what he will do with this. Bible. He will be doing Bible every day. We will be doing it as a family. We have memory verses that I want us to do. I will be using the Ambleside Online this is for the 4th grade, but the Ambleside Online has a schedule laid out for weekly, what you would read in a Bible during a week. One day he will be doing the Old Testament. Another day we will be doing studying God's Word. I believe I showed this in my last year video that we used, and I really do love this workbook. You do have a Bible passage you read, and then the lesson, and then an activity page, another activity page, and then another lesson. And this usually can be done in 2 days. So he will have one day where he does the Ambleside Online Old Testament reading. The next day he will do this. The next day he will do the Ambleside Online New Testament reading. And then the 4th day, and this will probably be something I require after dinner because, again, I do have our family Bible going on. And then the 4th day, we will either be doing another devotional that he has already, and we might continue with that. There's a great possibility of starting this one as well. The only thing with this one is I think my husband really wants to do this with him, and it's going to be dependent on, or how often this will be is going to be dependent on what my husband can do. I do want to say, because I see this happen so often, let your husband lead. Don't try to lead for him. So I really am just going to let him take the lead in this. And so however that works is what it works, but sometimes I might just say, you know what, go and find a Bible story to read to the younger ones. And it might just be, you know, our little children's Bible that we do. Okay, so that will be the daily work. And then this includes, he has something he has to do every day with those. Theoretically, each small book like this will take about a week to read. And then, like I said, Farmer Boy, I've laid it out so that he has about a month to read. So that will be history. We also have our history, or our family read aloud history that we will do in our morning basket time or morning family time or opening time, whatever you want to call it. We will be doing that. Geography is going to be worked into our American history. Wherever we're reading, we will just follow that along on a map, kind of learn the capital, maybe even kind of go into a little bit of, you know, who the state representatives are. I'm not going to worry too much about that right now, especially in 3rd grade, but we might kind of dab our feet into that. For science, that will be another thing that we don't do consistent or daily. We will do it consistently. I am determined this year. And I put everybody on the same science so that we could be consistent. We're doing Swimming Creatures of the 5th day. We are so looking forward to this. I also have his notebook for that, so we can do any notebooking, any note taking. If he wants to make notes, I encourage that, and I will have him do it in his little notebook here. Recently, I did a Osborne haul. Again, I will link that above. And I showed some resources that I got to add to this. He will be doing this along with the older ones. And the younger ones are going to be doing that with us, but they have the Burgess Seashore book that I want to do. Now, with those books, I do have the Hauling Sea Hauling. Somebody was gracious enough to gift those to me. I do have all the volumes, and we've got Pagoo, Seabird, Tree in the Trail, all of those things that work with geography, including the maps from Beautiful Feet for the geography. And I might be pulling those out here and there occasionally. It won't be a consistent thing. Again, it will just be, hey, let's pull this in today and do a little bit of geography. So I will probably be doing some of that. So this will be language arts, which will be, you know, the reading, and he will tell me about what he's read in each one. I will probably have him do some specific writing into it. I will just say, hey, tell me what you want, and then I'm going to write one sentence that you need to copy, and you need to put one sentence of your own words into what you read. Again, he's in 3rd grade. I really do want to build on that right now. Along with that, I do have this that I got him last year. We ended up loving this further along into the year. At first, it was just kind of to pull it, you know, we need a break today, we're just going to have a little bit of fun time. But as the year got further in, we began to love this more, and I began to really see when more people were coming out of the works and showing what they did with this, I really began to see more potential with this. My son is very black and white in personality, and so it kind of comes forward on this. And he's very private, so I don't really want to open it and share it with you because he does watch my videos and he is self-conscious about things like this. But we will be using this with our education, arts. You pick out some books, you write down some things about it, you study it, and things like that, and it kind of builds on that. I did a video on that, and that, again, I will try to link above. Spelling. This is what we are going to be using for spelling. I bought this last year for my daughter, got about 2 or 3 weeks into it, and threw it away. Or I didn't throw it away. I was like, put it away, and I went back to what I knew. But I really would like to get to spelling in this way, where you look at what you're going to be spelling this day, and you kind of go over the words that maybe you don't know as well, and you kind of I will link down below the Sonia Schaefer video that talks about this and how she does it. But that's what we're going to be doing here. This one's a little bit simpler, and then we are going to get a little bit more in-depth, intense with that. This is for grades 3 to 5, but I did get book 2 for my daughter because the more I was looking into it, a lot of this is something I knew she would know, and we kind of did a simple test. So this will be for my son. Alright, in my homeschool haul, I picked these up, and when I was editing it and uploading, I'm like, I am all over the place on this. What was I purchasing these for? I could not remember. It was called Mom Brain, okay? I thought about doing nature study with loose leaf, and then we bind it together, but when I was in the store going, okay, yeah, that's what I want to do, and I came across these, and the more I thought about it as I was purchasing everything else, I was like, you know what, no. The loose leaf, especially when you multiply it by 6 students that I will have, I was just like, that's too much pressure on me to make sure that everything is kept safe. My children, I would love to say, are wonderful and very responsible, but that is not the case. That is a habit thing that we will be learning this year, but right now that's too much pressure on me, especially with everything I need to do and go over and correct and all that. Alright, so that will be, this is for his nature study. And then again, we will have just art appreciation, and I showed you that in the family haul video. And Shakespeare is just going to be with the family in morning time. I'm not too big on foreign language this year. I'm not going to try to add that. That's just going to be too much, and we're going to overload ourselves, and we're probably going to crumble into 1,000 little bits. I do have the Usborne first German book. I picked that up earlier this year because we are part German, and we have been utilizing it because the children watched Heidi in German. They watched the Netflix Heidi. It was completely in German with English subtitles. They were able to follow along. Even my 4- and 5-year-old that can't read very well like that, they were able to tell Daddy what it was all about because Daddy was out getting his hair cut. And they were just telling about the whole story, just based on putting details together, even though it was all in German. And my eldest daughter, the almost 10-year-old who will be in 4th grade, went and asked if we had anything on German, which I was able to pull right out of the shelf and hand it to her, and she's gone to town since then trying to pick up German because she just loved how beautiful it was, especially in Heidi. As you can see, I'm kind of mixing Ambleside Online and Simply Charlotte Mason and a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and making my homeschool work for us this year. Alright, any questions, leave them down below. If you want to know more about anything, leave them down below. I am probably going to make a blog post showing what we have. That way you can kind of go there and click more into detail. I'm just going to do a little extra blurb here. I was looking into the Spelling You See curriculum for my son and the other boy that was going to be with us, but I could not afford $50 per kid for a spelling curriculum. This one ends up being almost $30 with shipping if you just buy one. And I can use this over and over again with the kid. I can use a 25-cent or 50-cent composition notebook, and we can just use this again. Again, I bought this for my daughter. I bought it as a PDF. I printed it, and I had it bound. It cost about $25 to do that. And they did not bind it very well at all, but I'm not going to print it out again to take down and have them fix it. So, just FYI, it might be a better deal for you just to purchase the one that Simply Charlotte Mason has. The quality is really good. I do like their spiral, and the pages are a lot thicker than just my normal copy paper. And I just wanted to kind of throw that out there. Alright, thank you so much for watching. I'm glad you made it to the end here. And again, I will answer any questions in the comments below. I don't respond as quickly as I would like to, but I will get to you as soon as I can. Thank you so much for watching, and have a blessed day, and happy schooling! Bye.